let us all do we can to build a better future.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What to really say about her at this point? I've been disappointed with her since she's constantly been carrying water and going to defense for the Democratic establishment, bowing down to the Democratic establishment, saying that the Biden-Harris administration has exceeded expectations, giving them an A+, which is downright pathetic, and not to mention being bullied by ice cream Nancy Pelosi to change her no vote to a present. Interesting turn of events. But I want to rewind back the clocks to early December. This video was posted by Forbes, but it's talking about how AOC is concerned about student debt. And for those of you who don't know, student debt is impacting a lot of generations, not just millennials, but a lot of people all across this country, because unfortunately, student debt is the kind of debt that cannot be forgiven. And one of the key architects that made student debt what it is none other than Joe Biden. When he was a U.S. senator, he signed with the credit card corporations to make student debt what it is. And unfortunately, millions of Americans are struggling right now just to make their final payments. And we are the richest country in the world, and we cannot, for some reason, well, there is a reason, have affordable education. But the rest of the world has figured that out. So let's play this video. This was, again, in early December 2nd, I believe. Let's play this video.
Representative Bowman, and we're here from
I want to pause right here for 1 second. I want to remind everyone that through executive order, Joe Biden can pardon student debt. We don't have to wait on the bill. We don't have to do anything through Congress. Through executive order, President Joe Biden, can get rid of student debt like that. Any president could have done it. From Trump to Obama, Bush Jr., Bill Clinton. But no, they're choosing not to. Let's play the rest of the video.
I didn't go.
Now let's pause it right here. Let's pause it right here. At any point in time, the Democratic leadership, before even AOC even became a name we now know, Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Boy Schumer, Joe Biden, and the rest of the Democratic establishment had numerous golden opportunities to actually get rid of student debt, to make higher education, affordable in this country. Dare I say it, even for free. During Obama's first term, he had a solid supermajority in the House and Senate. That was way back in 2008. But Barack Obama and his administration didn't do jack. They could have done something. They should have done something. They had the majority in the House and Senate. But remember, a lot of blame goes to a lot of these Republican lawmakers. And let's be fair here. Some of these Republican lawmakers, if not all of them, are against student debt forgiveness and against affordable education. But these Democratic lawmakers put on this neoliberal mask, smiling, pretending that they care. They could have done something years ago. So it should show you who they really are. Let's hear the rest of AOC speak. And again, this video was taking place on December 2nd, because there's a reason why I'm playing this video too. Let's pause it right here. Pause it right here. Very important that we bring this up. That again, in 2005, then Senator Joe Biden sided with the credit card corporations to make student debt even what it is now far worse. That's something now President Joe Biden has to his record. So vote blue no matter who, crowd. Just a quick reminder to you, maybe hold his feet to the fire, because through executive order, again, Joe Biden can pardon student debt through executive order. He can do it right now. He could have done it months earlier on in his administration. He could have done it in his first 100 days, but he didn't do it. And AOC is speaking the truth. I agree with her. One thing that's impacting a lot of young people, millennials, Gen Z, and yes, even older generations, is this crippling student debt, because it's impacting millions of Americans. It's preventing a lot of working class citizens the ability to own a home or, continue on with their careers, make themselves grow. The student debt right now is the biggest chain that's imprisoning all Americans. Let's play the rest of this video. Pause it. Pause right here. Pause right here. Pause right here. I'm going to ask you to rewind it, because I want to play it again, because the article that I'm going to be bringing up is from today. Now, again, this video was from December 2nd. Let's play the rest of this video. Bullshit. Okay, let's end that video right here. Before we pull up this article, AOC, you're saying things I agree with. 100%. You're on point. You want to make your speech even more interesting if you called out your fellow colleagues in the Democratic establishment. Now, I know you're not going to call out Mama Bear, because she'll yell at you and make you cry. You're not going to call out Chucky Boy Schumer because, I don't know, I guess you're intimidated by Democratic leadership. You're not going to call out the Biden-Harris administration because you said they exceeded expectations. Well, it turns out House progressives, by sitting on your hands, not doing nothing, not holding Biden's feet to the fire, not even standing in solidarity for us, for the forced to vote for Medicare for All, March for Medicare for All, the 3-day general strike summit, or even fighting back for the $15 minimum wage increase, now you're realizing that you're walking into a slaughter. And 2022 is just a few weeks away, and we'll be entering into the early stages of the midterm election cycle. And it already stands right now, the Democrats are walking into a slaughter. The Democrats really have nothing to hold on to. That Build Back Better BS that they're constantly hyping up is nothing but a benefit for the top 1%. At this point, they might as well throw it away. Remember, it started at $7 trillion, and now it's down to what, $1.75 trillion? And if Manchin gets away, he'll keep on lowering it down to even further. But again, House progressives, by not fighting back, by enjoying your victory over Trump, who, mind you, again, is going to be running in 2024, you should be gravely concerned about what kind of voter turnout you're going to get during the midterms. And this goes for the entire Democratic Party. You know, you're worse than the Washington Generals because when they face off against the Harlem Globetrotters, they're supposed to lose. But they don't put on this song and dance like they're out of a great basketball team. But Democrats, for years, we've seen corporate media and all these cul-de-sac progressives and vote blue no matter who people with blue check marks saying how good you are on the issues. Well, now, here's this article right here from Common Dreams. And as it stands, I'm dreading February 2022. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shares student loan horror stories from constituents. Now, I'm glad that she's sharing these stories, but this article is from December 17th. And the Biden-Harris administration has made it very clear they are not going to pardon student debt. They're not going to do it. It would be a popular policy. It would win the Democrats some points, but they're not going to do it. So let's hear these horror stories because, again, this is more acting from AOC. And while I do agree with everything she was saying in that video, you got to push back at your leadership. Otherwise, why the hell did we vote for you in the first place? Why did so many people go to bat for you in the first place? Continuing on. With 6 weeks ago until tens of millions of Americans will be required to restart payments of their student debt, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Thursday shared the stories of some of her constituents who have struggled with the cruel impact of the student loan system, which, mind you again, the neoliberal Democrats are the architects of it too. Not just Republican lawmakers, it's Democratic and Republican lawmakers. So let's be very clear on this. In an email to supporters, the New York Democrat shared the story of Lee Ann, a nurse living in Connecticut, who will have to begin paying down $30,000 in student loans again starting February 1st, nearly 2 years after Congress imposed a payment moratorium due to the coronavirus pandemic. Having grown up in poverty, Lee Ann was uncertain she could afford nursing school, but when she was assured that if she took out a loan to get her education, it would be forgiven once she started working. Welcome to America, the American dream. You got to be asleep to even believe it. George Carlin, you were light years ahead of us all, man. Thankfully, I was eligible for financial aid for a little while, but I ended up needing to take out $30,000 to get me through my bachelor's degree. Downright pathetic in the richest country in the world, Leanne told the Congresswoman. All along the way, teachers, advisors, counselors, loan officers, everyone told me the same thing. Your loans will be forgiven when you become a nurse because you're serving the community. Well, needless to say, they were wrong. And at this point, I'm all for higher education, but go outside the United States. College in America is a scam at this point. It's designed to make you go broke. Maybe someday college will be different here in this country, but if you don't want to be struggling with student debt, don't go to college in America. If you want to go to college, go college overseas. Go somewhere else where it's affordable. In the United States, it's a scam. At one point it wasn't, but now it is. And the fact that there are millions of Americans that are right now struggling with debt should enrage us all. And the fact that AOC, in that video that I played earlier, didn't even call out the Democratic establishment, says all we need to know about our House progressives who are supposed to raise the ruckus. If they're not going to raise the ruckus, why are you still relevant? Why are you still here? Because by playing ball with the Democratic establishment, by placating them, by constantly being nice to them, you're allowing them to still walk all over us. So holding out for hope for Biden to forgive student debt, well, AOC, that's a wonderful dream. Tell us more about your dreams. The article continues on. I'm 32 years old and I'm still over $30,000 in debt. I'm currently working in the public school system. I only make $54,000 a year. She continued, in Connecticut, that truly isn't much money. I'm dreading February 2022. Ocasio-Cortez shared Leanne's story after soliciting personal accounts of student loan repayment struggles from constituents, garnering more than 250 submissions. Here's a quote from her. "The stories shared are heartbreaking reminders of the cruel and painful burden student loans place on individuals. Keep the pressure on President Joe Biden to cancel student loan debt." AOC, House Progressives, Blue Checkmark, Vote Blue No Matter Who, K-Hive, the whole bunch, who were celebrating and drinking mimosas after Trump was kicked out of office. Mind you, again, he's going to be running again in 2024, so well done on your victory that's non-existent at this point. The Democrats and Joe Biden could have done something about student debt. I keep repeating this, but I want to make it very clear that we sometimes get pushback on how come we're not going after Republican lawmakers or making fun of them or pointing out their own hypocrisy. Well, we know what to expect from the Republican establishment. No Republican lawmaker is going to be for Medicare for all. No Republican lawmaker serving in the Senate and House is going to be for a UBI or a Federal Jobs Guarantee Act. No one in the GOP, in the Republican establishment, is going to go to bat for student debt forgiveness or affordable education. They're never going to do that. Now, here's the thing. These policies are popular amongst voters because there's a big difference between voters and the establishment. And very similar to the Republican establishment, the Democratic establishment doesn't believe in these progressive issues, these popular policies that are popular amongst all voters. See, the Democratic establishment has successfully put this mask on, convincing a lot of voters that they're the good guys. But they could have done stuff about this years ago. I want to read this final paragraph right here in the article. The campaign comes days after White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters that after numerous extensions of the student debt moratorium by both the Trump and Biden administrations, the White House is focusing on starting repayment on February 1st. The administration's plan appears to be moving forward even as the Omicron variant is expected to overwhelm healthcare systems, and despite survey data from the Student Debt Crisis Center showing that 89% of borrowers are not financially secure enough to begin repayment, even if they are employed. According to the data, more than 25% of people will have to spend at least a third of their income on student debt payments, and nearly 9 in 10 people say the moratorium has been critical to their financial well-being during the pandemic. So that means under Trump, people were doing better. Hey, vote blue no matter who. It's really pathetic that under a Democratic administration where Biden was going to return back the soul of this country, that now he's once again putting debt on people. But hey, Biden's better than Trump. God, that propaganda. What a bunch of BS. Never let anyone browbeat you to vote however which way you feel like. Don't ever let anyone, convince you of fear. I know what to expect from the Republican establishment. I know what to expect from Donald Trump. But my goodness, Democrats, you're downright pathetic. Looking at this even further, I want everyone to understand that there is something that can be done. President Biden can actually get rid of student debt under the Higher Education Act. But even further, I want to pull up this article from Forbes, and I want to leave it with this. 5 ways in which good old Joe 30330, Dementia Joe, can actually get rid of student debt. That's right. Well, number 1, cancel student loans for most student borrowers. Again, the article goes into detail how he can cancel student loans. Student loan forgiveness after 10 years. Number 3, make student loan cancellation automatic. Number 4, lower monthly student loan payments for these borrowers. And number 5, give partial student loan forgiveness. Those are 5 ways you can do that. 5 ways. You can check out both these articles in the description box below. But Democrats, Biden, vote blue no matter who. This could have been avoided so long ago. And even the earlier days of the Biden-Harris administration, Joe Biden could have taken the initiative and say, I'm going to forgive student debt. He could have made a landmark decision doing that. But he's not going to do it because the corporate donors that own the Democratic Party and the Republican Party want there to be student debt. They want education to be out of reach of working class citizens. So AOC making these statements, making these videos, sending out these emails of concerns. Yes, these are things I agree with. But House progressives, you were elected to fight back and push back. And by now not choosing to do that, and by playing these theatric performances right now, this performance art that we're seeing from you, what are you expecting during the midterms? Because you should be dreading not only February of 2022, but the entire year of 2022, because this will be a sign of how much of an epic failure the Democratic Party has been. And there's a good chance that the Republicans are going to steamroll through them all. Now, again, voter turnout is going to be very important. And again, statistics have shown that during the midterms, there's always been low voter turnout, especially during the primary and general election part of every midterm. AOC, Democrats, what kind of propaganda are you going to use? Because the evidence is out there showing that the Democratic Party could have solved this problem years ago.